Let me start over.
All right,
Okay.
rolling.
Hello and welcome, guys, to Comic-Con 2022. Great to be back.
Thank you.
What about the script drew you to this project?
For me, it was Jada. There are so many female characters who only support the men. That's a huge theme in all of projects, basically. And this was a girl who had her own story, who was on her own journey, and it wasn't dependent on other men. And so that really spoke to me.
And she's a powerful character, so it's fun to see that. I loved the script when I first read it. It kind of reminded me of Starship Troopers, but with a throwback to like Star Trek, the original Star Trek, and Flash Gordon, and Buck Rogers, and so it's like it's a throwback for that. I love the character development in it, between it and the relationships. I love the relationship with her, the character who plays my wife, and Peter, and then all the other Reapers that we met. It just was, they're not one level. There's all these different facets that happen, and we go through it, and you really see them go through it. And they're all my friends, so it worked out really well. And then I when I read it, I saw my friend Peter in it, so I talked to the director and I said, "Hey, what do you think of Peter Shinkoda?" He goes, "I love Peter Shinkoda. Do you think we can get him?" I go, "Call him." So I called him. I'm like, "Hey, Peter, let me tell you this." He goes, "Great. Yeah, I'll read it. Yeah, I'm down. Yeah. He called back. He's like, "I love it. I'm in it." I'll let him tell you because it's much better than what I say.
Forgive me, I'm losing my voice, but it's like he said, and I read it, and there's aspects of it that register with me, especially with the climate of the world today. So I love that universal theme. But what put me over the top was the character has agency. Not many roles out there for a guy like me that looks like me. So I had that, and I knew I was going to have to play off of him. And I knew that I could bring that performance because we were real friends, and I wanted that authenticity to translate to the screen. So there's a lot to bite into, and there was longevity to the role too, over a bunch of episodes. So I knew that I had a challenge, and I had something to work with, and it's a rarity. And I readily agreed to it and jumped on board like that. For a chance to work with him, her for the next few months, friends. It's a no-brainer.
And his arc is the most insane one of anyone on it. Like, to watch what his character goes through and who he becomes, it was really moving for all of us.
Yeah, he was. It was fun to watch Peter. I just was. When I say I would watch him and he would do the scene and everything. He'd go, "Hey, everything cool?" I'm like. So it's nice when you have that. But everybody was putting their all into it. When I watch it, I love the acting in it. So I watched it, and I don't always say that about everything I do because sometimes I can't watch it. So just being honest. And that's not anything. I don't go in with the intention of that. I go in with the intention of doing the best, but sometimes that's just not what happens. This one, I really love the acting in it, and that's what drives it for me. Visual effects is a dime a dozen, everything, everywhere, and this is like a throwback, so I dug that. That's kind of cool because it just goes back to the real meat and potatoes of this, the skeleton of these relationships between the people, and it's real, and we're trying to get over. We're all born with life debt, and we get it handed down from our parents, and the only way to get out is to join the Salvage Marines. But if you join the Salvage Marines, it's going to take years to get your debt paid off, and it's an 80% mortality rate. That's the mortality. That's not talking about the wounded and everything like that. When you lose a lung or an arm, they replace it, and now you're more in debt. So that's how they get you. And then there's other things that happen. And he starts, my character, which in Starship Troopers, my character was like, "That's what the mobile infantry is for. That's what we do." That's how he was. Which was a great character to play, and Paul Verhoeven was a genius for making me play that way. Sometimes I'd go, "Come on, Paul." And he goes, "No, this is great, just do it like this." Okay. I respect him. He's RoboCop, Total Recall. I'm like, whatever you say, oh, yes. So for that, but this character here, we don't sign up into the mobile infantry, or we sign up into the Reapers, but when we're old, our age now. So we're not the young spring chickens that are signing up anymore. And when we sign up, we're going in there and we're trying to do it to get rid of the life debt and all this. And then we start, seeing things, and that brings us to my character.
Spoilers.
Yeah, my spoilers, which I blew earlier or something. But
Shut up.
But doing that, there's an arc. There's a great arc that I really love for this character. So that's one of the things that drew me to it.
Where did you get the idea, the script? Where did this come from?
There's a writer named Sean Michael Argo who wrote the books. And then
Raphael
Raphael Jordan helped him write the scripts. And then Sean Piccinino came in and massaged it big time and directed, and he wrote some things and everything.
As shooting,
as we were shooting, because some things wouldn't, sometimes when you write a scene, it doesn't necessarily fit to the location you get. So we had to, sometimes we rewrote a whole scene right there on the spot. And I'm like,
like
Peter, can you
5
do this?
minutes
He's like,
before
yeah, I
we're
got
like-
it. And I was like, this guy, and we'd do it. We'd have, literally 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
And we
Can you
shot
do
the
this?
scene. And we were like, yes. And we were like, okay, raise the game. Let's do it. Let's do it. Step up. And every time, nobody was like on, can't do it. Stop for me. Nobody did that. They all jumped
Call
up.
the studio,
They all
call the
jumped.
network.
They all jumped on like, okay. I see
Live
the line you've
script
done. I
writing.
raise it up
Yes.
here.
Live script writing like that, taking the meat
And-
and enhancing it, that's really an art.
Yeah.
That's
And
that
Sean
director. That's the
Piccinino,
director. If you
he's
guys
got it.
afterwards, after you interview us, if you go over and you talk to them, because it's the other cast.
He's the
which-
genius of the universe,
He's the
basically.
genius of it.
Well, Sean Marco, Argo, Raphael, and Sean.
Yeah, but Sean Piccinino is the one that he directed everything. He had the whole mind of seeing everything the whole time, which was impressive because we would shoot all 6 episodes, sometimes in one day.
Oh,
See-
it's
oh,
everywhere. Yeah.
And
That was the most difficult part.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was
That
the,
was
that probably the most
continuity.
because we'd have to go back and forth. So we like you'd be in like scene episode 1 in the first scene, and then you go to 6, and then you go to 4,
I felt
3,
the
and then
most
back
sorry
to
for
1 and 2.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was times
He
when
had
I'd have to have, I'd have a look
So,
change.
ba.
A look change.
Yes.
Remember? The long hair, and then it's like, okay,
Some
let's
things
shoot
happen.
Episode 5.
Some
But
things
I have to
happen.
remind
He goes
people.
to a really dark place. He starts
does.
off as this fuck off guy, and then he goes to a really dark place, and then he finds his peace kind of thing. Like, you know, so he had to go be peaceful guy, dark guy, all, like within, it's like, oh, you have these 3 scenes in a row, and he had to just
And the
get
look,
there.
remember, it was like,
Yeah.
I can't shoot this. My hair's short. What?
Yeah.
What? You're right, Pete. Okay, give me that beanie. I'm putting it on.
Yeah.
That is my wardrobe. It's the only way to solve
Yeah,
this.
so we fixed some
There's
things.
a lot of complexities that we had to keep a beat on.
Who knew a beanie could fix it?
Yeah, Katya Loban is who we really owe a lot of that to. She was our script
Yeah, she's
supervisor, and
Yeah, she was
kicked ass.
amazing.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
And, oh man, we had to cover so much ground in such little time.
Yeah.
Get in there,
I
girl.
have a couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think it was either the first or second episode, there was a reference to insects out there.
Yeah.
Is that in the original
Yes.
source material? Or is
It's
that
in the
just
source
like
material,
a
yeah.
blog
Sean
or
Michael
something?
Argo had that in. I think Sean Michael Argo is a huge Starship Troopers fan.
Yeah. so
And so when this is,
Definitely.
when I do this, which is interesting because they've taken a picture from me from 1997 as Johnny Rico, and then they put a picture of me in this helmet now, and they're like, Johnny Rico 1997, 2022. I'm like, pretty cool. And they had the helmet to helmet, like looking at me, which for me, I love that.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah, it's an.
You couldn't breathe out of our helmets, though. Your helmets, they just wanted off face. They didn't care. Like, oh, you can get your face blown off at any time. They're like,
Yeah.
no, but show them.
Yeah, so it was
But
fun.
ours, we were out in the summer heat in Louisiana, swamp territory, and in between takes we'd have to breathe like this.
Yeah,
Tilt the mask back and breathe out the
they
bottom.
they were smoke. They would fog up and then have to
Sometimes
defog
we
her.
had moth nests in there.
Yeah.
You know, open the stage doors at night, and the moth would fly in from the lighting, and all of a sudden, some moths are cut. Moths flying out.
So there were real bugs too.
Yeah.
My other question was about playing characters that are getting flack for being older.
For being older.
Ageism.
Yeah.
As an actor, you've gone through different stages of your career. What's it like to have to be that character and play to that?
So you're talking about
Being insulted for your age,
you're
basically.
talking about the 4 stages of an actor's career, which is who's Casper Van Dien? Get me Casper Van Dien. Get me a younger Casper Van Dien. Who's Casper Van Dien? Put anybody's name in there except for Tom Cruise. He's the one that he's an enigma. But other than that, everybody else is in that category. It's, any actor is in that. So
Should
dealing
you
with
be so
ageism-
lucky? Should you be so lucky?
For me, I loved the how they did the ageism, and then I loved it even more when he played it. We had a scene where he just confronts everybody, and he just starts. He's like, "Hey, let's just cut to the elephant in the room. We're old, basically, you know." And then he goes into a thing, and it's beautiful. And I was like, I love it. That's powerful. So it talks about it, ageism. We're still capable. The thing is, he and I, we were running around there. We had the most to do. And everybody else, we had a great core of people, but we never quit because we also didn't want the young bucks to see that. So we also there's something called old man strength. So there might be some ageism, but we do have old man strength. So they were like, we're there.
Yeah.
But some of those young bucks, they could run around like little puppies, and I'll be like, damn.
It was a commitment. I mean,
Some of those, that was like our friend Ashley. She's a runner, so she'd be like the fastest one of all of us, and I'd be like, oh man.
I'd rather be, taken to the hospital in an ambulance than, kind of fail out there or quit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like, no, this is a one-way ticket. I'm not.
But the side of that that's really positive about them is they bring that experience, and they did that as giants in this industry. All of us, this is really all of our first time being leads in a series, and we're here with these two guys who were our captains, and they set such a great example that all of us, even when we were kind of ready to quit a little bit, we'd look over at them like, we can't do that in front of them,
Yeah.
So they set a really good tone for the set.
And we had Armando Sante too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And he's so good in this too.
Yeah,
When you see it,
he's great.
he's phenomenal.
That's
So it's
also
such
a reason.
Yeah.
He told me Armando had boarded the project.
Yeah.
Mambo Kings, huh? Okay. Okay, I'm in. Well, that hand to this guy's royalty. He's a living legend.
And he's so intense in his
So
role in
cool.
this, so intense.
I
We
shook
all-
his hand.
Yeah.
His hand.
You want to touch it? I haven't watched
I
it.
remember well. I stalked him. He came out of his trailer. I cut him off.
It was funny because all the actors, and if you talk to some of them, they might even mention this over there. When we get in there, they came afterwards and they're talking to us and they go, watching Armand is like being in a master class. And I'm like, hey, how come you guys didn't say that about us? Like, what are you trying to say?
When it was close up.
That's true.
I'm not that age yet, but he's earned some stripes that I don't have yet. You're right.
When
You're
it
right,
was
you're right.
Armand's coverage, though, they're like, "Oh, everybody can go. We're just going to give
Nobody
coverage."
would go.
Nobody moved. We're
They
going to be
sat
quiet
there.
and just watch.
Yeah, they were there. It was nobody wanted to leave.
Don't have anywhere better to be, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
Don't
yeah.
have
That's
anyone
cool.
watching
You never
live
have
Broadway
anywhere
right there.
Yeah, you never have anywhere better to be than in the present.
Yeah.
So anytime you're in the present, and then when you're in the presence of somebody who's a master at what he does, then it's actually just a huge benefit. And I think everybody really was masterful in their way of portraying and stepping up. Nobody was stepping down, and that was a compliment for this small thing.
He had a lot of material, and he just came in professionally calm and delivered pages and pages and pages. He was awesome.
Yeah, because
And
he's like
pages.
the Starship Troopers propaganda. It's all on Armand for this. He does all
Which
of
is
like
great.
the propaganda stuff. And
Yeah,
he
'cause
was
I gotta be honest, when he comes on, I just love it.
Me
I just
too.
love watching him.
Yeah.
You walk. Sometimes it's just the whatever.
The hologram,
The
yeah.
holograms. So the holograms of him. Sometimes we're just walking by, and he'll just be talking in the background. It has nothing to do with the scene, but it's him talking, saying the propaganda. You can hear it, but we're talking about something else, and we're just walking by it. So it's like this is what they're being fed, which is what we get fed in the press and everything else, and TVs and stuff like that.
Very relevant.
And people always doing stuff like that now, which is normal. It's like the old when they used to subliminal messages.
That's exactly
It's
what
like-
it is.
It's what it is through this, and it was really powerful because somebody even walks through him one time. It's like and it's just his video, but he's talking.
And he doesn't deliver it like, some square, the crusty CEO. He delivers it like almost like a street thug.
Like
which is good.
maniacal almost.
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
The blood. What do you do this for? Take him. For revenge. So good.
yeah, like there will be blood.
Yeah.
Abandon my boy.
It was the opposite delivery that I thought it would
So
he would
intense.
do. It's so good. It works though.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
Armand.
the whole thing about the corporations running not just the world, but the universe.
Not too far off, huh?
And the fight that you guys are in is between corporations, not even between countries or
Correct, yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Think about those kids that own 100 G's just to get, their bachelor degree in the States. I can't believe a lifetime of paying off your student loans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really so
you get a
relevant.
job.
I think that audiences will be able to relate to that, and hopefully they just like the relationships between the people. But I think there'll be the relatability factor with life debt.
Situation.
And it's just,
Situational.
it's really fun. There's a lot of cynical kind of approaches to the dark edgy version of storytelling nowadays. It's in the last maybe 15 years. This one goes back to, even though some of these themes are heavy, I feel what we presented is really fun, kind of fun. If people like fun, you're gonna enjoy this, you know? So many dark iterations of these IPs out there, and of course this is an original, which is something that's going for it. But I mean, it's fun. I don't feel like I have so many hang-ups watching it, you know?
Yeah.
And what I love about it's this really like play on the culture right now and how hard it is, but then because we're all friends, it feels lighthearted. You're tackling it, but you're tackling it with your best friends.
That's right. I feel also there was a lack of, and this is a good thing. There's a lack of, suits, and studios, and there's a hierarchy of people that you got to get through to make an executive decision. Whereas we could concoct something on the day, on the spot, and
With the director.
and we're filming it 5 minutes later. So there's not a bunch of people that we got to. Yeah, exactly, right.
So that was powerful.
I love
It
that.
was unique too. It's a unique experience, and he's also a very fast director. If you get to talk to him, I mean, he's very thorough and he's got a basic. He's got a background in visual effects and editing and
Stunts and
stunts
everything. Like
directing.
he's
he's
Shakespeare.
Like, yeah, he's a jack of all trade. He does night fighting. He's a martial
Yeah, he's
artist. Like
He does it all.
Like 5th-degree black belt, and he's got like this one toe
impressive.
punch he can do that just can paralyze you like a Vulcan. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's the thing is surreal. He's like lethal, but he does. When you get to talk to him, I hope you guys talk to him afterwards. He is the sweetest guy.
Super sweet.
He's the king of, here's you like $2, make something great, and let's sell it. And he's like, okay, let's go. No time, no money. Let's just go.
Always
So great.
enthusiastic. He
Doesn't
led
really
the
raise
ship.
his voice.
No.
He never makes you
You
have
know,
a performance
your
feel.
enthusiasm, listening to the three of you, it's intoxicating. It's so wonderful
Thank you.
to hear you guys, gal,
Yeah, I'm guys.
just like it's like it's bubbling out of the glass isn't half full. The
No.
glass won't hold it all.
I love you.
You know what the big
It's
difference
all
for
about
me?
the love.
I felt that people wanted me to be there for the first time. I wasn't shoehorned in. Like, what do we do with this guy? Okay, all right. Oh, you want so? Here we go. There was none of that. I really was there because people wanted me there.
Yeah, I
And
wanted
it's a,
you there.
It's a black and white, no pun intended, but there's a difference, a big difference. And I felt that, I wasn't like some kind of issue to be dealt with or to have to handle or to quash. I felt like we needed you there, and you're very you're elemental in being there. You know.
Well, when I found out,
felt it.
of course, Casper, of course, the lead, right, and the lovely Jennifer, right? But when I went to IMDb, right, and I'm scanning and I'm talking to Laurie, I go, "It's Peter Shinkoda, who's been in so many things too."
Yeah.
And then you look at the supporting cast. I mean, you guys really have put together a team of experts in this industry.
Yeah, and it's a diverse group, but it's not about the diversity. It's just showing that we're all one. And it's unfortunately, there was a lot of rhetoric that is negative towards this. But if everybody realized that we all have rights, we're all equal, we're all in this together, male, female, gay, straight, black, white, doesn't matter, Asian, doesn't matter. We're all one. And there's nobody better, and there's nobody that deserves anything better. And we shouldn't be telling them.
And
this
we're all
story
under
is
the
irrelevant.
blanket of corporations
But
and
we're all under the
environmental
blanket.
change.
Our
We're
characters.
all under it, yeah.
So we're all that other stuff is gone, but we're still under that. We're still under the blanket of the corporations who are controlling us and
We find
really,
unity in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the characters are so different from opposing walks of life, but the one common denominator is they got to survive the day with the person next to them, and that's
Yeah.
really what it's about.
It doesn't matter who they
gets
are.
shedded. We have to rely on each other and trust each other.
So are there red shirts? Do we have red shirts? And I mean, you guys obviously survived, but
There are people that
with
there's
no
We
spoilers.
won't reveal.
we're not going to tell you who dies and who doesn't, but there's some shockers. So there's some shockers which are great, but then there's also there's some core that are still going to be there. And season 2, if we go to season 2, we'll be back.
So you're kind of like when you guys get hurt or damaged out there in the field doing the salvage. You're kind
They
of
put you
like
back together.
Will Smith and iRobot. You
Yes.
get You get
Yes.
Bionic stuff.
Hey, I was
Yeah.
in that movie. Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah, but
cool.
if you get a part like he got that really great arm that was this. Some of them are just like metal pieces of junk.
Yeah.
And then those,
It depends
then
on
your
how much
debt,
debt
your
you
debt
have.
isn't as much. But if they do that better one, then your debt is like, I'll never be able to
stuck.
pay this off.
Yeah.
Who
But,
made that
you know,
executive
but you still have to
decision?
serve because you're in so much debt.
You live a good life. You get to go back to work.
You get to go back to work with now a fake arm or fake lungs.
It sounds like the soul is owned by the company store. which goes
100%.
back-
You see that we can't give it all away, but you're really on it right there with a lot of this.
By the way, before we go in, there have been a few spoilers here. Do you want us to hold this for a while?
No, I don't.
Okay, all
He
right.
doesn't care.
I'm not. I'll Tom Holland the hell out of it. I love Tom Holland. It didn't stop. It didn't kill.
They're sitting there like,
It
oh,
didn't kill Spider-Man, did it? It did not. Nobody was like, "Oh, you ruined it for me. I'm not going to watch it now." Nobody was like that. They were like, "I'm going anyhow. I can't believe you did that. That's awesome." So maybe they'll be that way about me. I don't know.
You're just as charming.
Exactly. Any advice you would give your character knowing their outcome?
Oh, wow.
What a great question. Ladies first.
No, that's a tack question.
Oh yeah, attack.
That's a tack question.
Jeez. Well, it is synonymous with the age that I share with my character, but I really I intend, maybe since the middle of the pandemic, mid 2020, I intend to live happily the rest of my life, and make it important that I have some kind of gratification in every day that I have left, because I got less ahead of me than I do behind me, and I'm going to start living for myself, think about myself more, and I think I would say exactly that to the tack. Know what's important, live for yourself, you have limited time, make a difference, enjoy the ride. And if you watch by the end of the season, you'll see the changes in my character. But it's the extreme circumstance, obstacles, and situations that put him there. I wouldn't wish it upon, but he had the resilience enough to live through it and then actually learn. Some people don't. They'll go through traumatic experiences and become worse individuals. In this case, my character rises to the challenge and sees what's important and commits to it, and to his loyalties to the people that he feels for. And there weren't that many. In true life, I don't feel that we need all the friends and acquaintances that we do. There's a few core people that you should care about, and I think that's what he found. And that's what I would encourage him to continue down that path.
And my character, where she starts out just wanting to get away from her life, she's kind of running from what she's been dealt in life, and then she finds her purpose. So my advice to her would be, you're on the right track. Just continue your path.
See, I'm for this character, I love the arc that I had. So for me, I wouldn't want to spoil anything for him. I'd love him to go through what he had to go through to get there. So for me, I loved this character. I loved that he had choices he had to make for his family, bring his friend in, then go in and serve, and then all this, to try to get rid of this debt, to try to do that. And then all of a sudden he starts seeing things that really make him go like this. And so he starts questioning what's really good and what's really not. And that I loved all of that.
Real.
Should you stay or
real
should
life.
you go?
Yeah.
That's like
It's a dilemma, but it's powerful. Again, in Starship Troopers, I was like, that's my job, that's what I do. That's all I ever did. And they said, we're gonna go back to P. I go, that's what we do. That's what the mobile infantry is good for. That's all I said. I never was like, oh, should I give it a little bit like maybe? He goes, no. And I was like, literally, he wouldn't let me, deviate from what he wanted. That's part of his genius. But this one, my character I'm more relatable to it. I'm also older now, and I've been through the ringer several times. I've been divorced twice, married again. I have 5 kids. I've traveled the world. I've been up and down. I've had people say horrible things, people say wonderful things. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is relationships, and we all had great relationships. Those people over there are beautiful. These people here are beautiful, and I enjoy getting to do these interviews and talk with people.
You're beautiful.
Brag about it. Yeah, you're beautiful. You got the most beautiful shirt.
I'll tell my roommate, she'll be very happy.
It's so cool.
It's very cool.
But yeah, we were just burning our butts off with our best friends, and there's no other way that I'd rather spend my life.
Exactly, we're just approaching these seemingly insurmountable scenes, and a shoot, and then you overcome it together. Even the hardships turn into the best memories. So I really, really had a good time working with my cast and crew.
I also love, as a director myself, and I've worked on a few things, the fact that you guys are also friends, it makes the trust a lot easier, especially in harder scenes.
Oh, yeah.
That's because you two, and all three of you actually have relationships and friends. It makes it, you don't have to worry about, can I trust this actor? Can I not trust this actor?
Oh, yeah.
The last scene that we have this season was one of the last setups, one of the last scenes that we shot on, I think, the second to last day, or the last day in Louisiana before we went to England for the next segment. And it was a scene where we're partying for a while, and that wasn't acting. It wasn't acting to me.
No, it was real.
Yeah, it was
That's
very
what I would
real.
have said
It
to
was-
him.
It was very sad because I knew I was flying and I wouldn't see it for who knows how long. So I was really affected by that.
It's been 2 years since we've seen each other.
Yeah, and I didn't know
2.5
this
years.
pandemic was coming. I thought
Wow.
I'd see him in 2-3 months.
Yeah.
We did see each other 4 months later,
Yeah.
Yeah,
in England.
in
but,
Westlake too.
But now it's been almost 2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 years.
2.5 years.
I have a production question. A lot of actors act, they love their role, they're doing it because it enriches them and they're also getting paid. But they don't look at the final product. Have you guys looked at the whole thing?
Yeah, we watched all 6 episodes. I don't normally do that for every project I'm in. I'd say probably out of the 100+ films, I'd probably watch maybe 20%, maybe, that's me being generous, of what I've done. So, and that includes the TV shows. But I watched all 6 episodes of this.
Cool.
And we watched on the day. Like, even if you were done and you could go to your trailer, it was hot and miserable on set, but we all loved each other and loved what
Yeah,
everybody
we
was
watched
doing.
it.
So
Yeah.
we'd
You'd watch
jump behind the monitor,
dailies,
your turn!
You'd watch the dailies and then,
Well, sometimes they watch the dailies, but what we did, I didn't really have any time to do dailies because I had so much dialogue and I had so many days that I would do it. So I was just like, I'd go back to study,
Yeah.
work out, study, do this, act all day long. And then the next day, get up, so I have 4 hours of sleep, go back, do this. It's literally all I had the time to do.
months.
But we would sometimes when we were just there, we'd be watching we get lost and watching, like Armando Sante, we got lost. Sometimes I'd watch Peter and everybody else act.
Gianni
and
Capaldi with his cool accent.
Yeah, his Scottish
Our Scot
accent,
friend.
yelling at us. It's so many cool things to it.
Yeah.
So it's just
so you, so.
lot of production stuff
Is
run away.
it fair to say, with a note of sarcasm, you guys are totally unhappy with the finished product?
we're totally happy with each other in there. We did.
I'm teasing.
That's what I'm saying.
And we're watching, because when we first got it, we were pretty like, oh, Peter, oh, Kevin,
Yeah, we
oh,
were.
Ashley, oh,
Renata.
Renata. We were getting so
Shane.
excited seeing each
They're all
other.
over there.
You light up when you see people you love and you know what they went through and you know how hard it was. And to see it turn out well, you're like, oh, yeah, your scene was so great.
Yeah, when I can go like this to them and go, you did a really good job. You're a really good actor. When I can say that to all my friends, I was so happy. I was so happy because
We've recommended people in it not go well before.
I'm the worst at giving people false compliments.
Yes.
So if I don't like something and people go, what'd you think? I'd be like, "Hey." And Jenny's like, Casper, can't you just act? And I'm like,
You're an actor. He's like, but I
It's not
find
a-
truth in what I'm doing.
I always find truth in it. There's not a truth to that being good. I can't do it. If somebody's bad, I don't go, you did a great job. I don't.
like-
I go,
like the fawn saying sorry.
I change the subject. I don't, I'm really terrible. So with this, when I watched it, I went, I really love what everybody did.
And we hope you do too. Popcorn
Yeah.
Flicks, the 28th, free.
July 28th,
Stream it.
free.
Crack- oh,
Get
Is it 28th?
28th on Popcorn
28th Popcorn
Flicks.
Flicks.
And you can get that off of
Popcorn
Roku.
Flicks.
You can get it off of Apple TV, any smart TV, Google. I don't know.
Free.
Look for
It's
it.
free.
Our castmates are behind us going free.
Time to go, last question.
Yeah.
Have you, it sounds like there's just tons of Easter eggs in here that everybody's going to relate to. Have you set us up at the end of season, or episode 6, for season 2?
Yes.
Yes, and also it could be finished if you wanted to. So it's not like there's a completion in what there is, but then I hope we leave you wanting more.
We hope.
That's what I hope. And I think I want more.
I want more.
So, and all I got to say is This is the job.
This is the job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll